Hello everyone, and welcome to Fresh Master Channel. Today, we are going to have some story from Reddit. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below. These simple clips mean a lot to the future of this channel.
A correctional officer stepped into the prison clinic and gently shut the door behind him. Rachel Bennett offered him a friendly smile, which made him avert his eyes, slightly embarrassed. She was used to this reaction. There weren't many women, let alone attractive ones, working at Western Correctional, and the guards often developed harmless crushes. Clearing his throat awkwardly, the guard announced, "Got someone here for a checkup." He hesitated, concern flashing across his face. "He's a recent transfer. Word is he's got ties to gangs. You want me to stick around?" Rachel's smile widened a little. "Thanks, but I can handle myself. I've dealt with tougher cases." The guard gave a small nod. "All right, Nurse Bennett," he said and stepped out. Moments later, he returned with a young Latino man in standard prison attire holding a manila folder. "Sit," the guard barked, "and show some respect. You mess with her, you deal with me. Got it?" The inmate said nothing, his gaze already fixed on Rachel. Once they were alone, Rachel turned the lock on the door and took the folder from the prisoner. Flipping it open, she read aloud, "Hector Ramirez, age 19. That accurate?" He gave her a slow once-over and replied with a smirk, "Yes, beautiful." Rachel ignored the tone. "I'm Nurse Bennett. I'll be in charge of your medical care while you're here." She began reviewing his health history, asking basic questions. Hector answered half-heartedly, clearly more interested in looking at her than responding. "It says here you have type 1 diabetes and require daily insulin. That correct?" When he nodded lazily, she continued, "All right then, let's get that handled." She went to the mini fridge, pulled out a syringe, and returned. "Lift your shirt so I can access your abdomen." "Of course, sweetheart. Or I could take the whole thing off, give you a better view." "That won't be necessary," she replied coolly, and administered the injection without delay. After discarding the syringe, she turned toward him, arms crossed and expression hard. "Mr. Ramirez, you need to change your tone. This isn't a street corner, it's a correctional facility. I'm a nurse, not your flirt of the day. You will refer to me as Nurse Bennett, and you will treat me with full respect. Clear?" He gave her a mischievous grin. "You can give me shots, but I'd rather give you a good time. I know how to make women smile, believe me." He exaggerated the point by licking his lips slowly. To his shock, Rachel gave a thin, cold smile in return. "Mr. Ramirez, are you certain I gave you the right dose? Are you sure it was even insulin?" His grin faded. "Next time you ask for pain meds," she said, voice like ice. "Are you sure I'll give you the right pills? But what about when it's time for your flu vaccine? You know what an air bubble in your veins can do if it hits the heart?" Now clearly uncomfortable, Hector backed away slightly, his smirk gone. Rachel Bennett stepped forward, her tone low and sharp. "I could ruin your life from this side of the counter in ways you can't begin to imagine. So if you want to survive your time here without becoming another forgotten statistic, show me proper respect. Understood?" He averted his eyes. "Yes, ma'am." "In English," she snapped. He swallowed. "Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Nurse Bennett." She gave a satisfied nod. "Good. Now go ask the guard to take you back. I have paperwork to finish." When the guard returned to escort him out, he gave Rachel Bennett a curious glance. "Everything all right?" She gave him a bright, sweet smile. "Just fine. He behaved perfectly. They always do." Tom Clayton's focus was broken by the thudding steps of Harry Williams barging into his cubicle. Loud, brash, and annoyingly charismatic, Harry was everything Tom Clayton was not. While Tom Clayton valued quiet and cooperation, Harry thrived on attention and naturally drew others in, a fact that only highlighted Tom Clayton's own stagnating career. As Harry launched into chatter about office rumors, Tom gritted his teeth. Things got worse when Harry picked up a framed wedding photo from Tom's desk. "This your wife? She's gorgeous. How'd you pull that off?" Tom snapped, yanking the photo away. "Leave that alone." Surprised, Harry mumbled an excuse and left. Tom slumped into his chair staring at the picture. Embarrassment and jealousy churned in his chest. Deep down, he always felt Cece was out of his league. She'd said yes to him once, but the fear of losing her never left, especially with men like Harry around. Vincent Bennett divided his days into two parts: mornings spent walking the halls, greeting students, and managing school life in person. Afternoons were quieter, spent in his office sorting through emails, meeting parents, or dealing with staff matters. The system worked. His reviews were consistently strong, and whispers of promotion had begun to circulate. One Friday before spring break, he checked with his secretary about his schedule. "Just one more today." "Mrs. Clayton, per your request," she replied. "Perfect," Vince said, then added, "Feel free to leave early if you'd like." Grateful, she agreed and left for the day. Cece Clayton adored teaching 6th grade. Her students were at a rare stage, old enough to grasp complex ideas but still innocent enough to enjoy learning. She watched their emotional growth with fascination, especially as the boys started noticing the girls. That afternoon, as she walked to the principal's office, her heart fluttered with anticipation. When she entered, Vincent Bennett was already motioning her in. As soon as she shut the door, he embraced her and kissed her deeply. She melted under his touch until reality crashed in. "Vincent, we can't! Not here!" she gasped, pulling away. "There are still people around. We have the whole week together at the conference." Reluctantly, he backed off. "You're right," he said, frustration evident. "But you'd better be ready for me in that hotel." She smiled, breathless, then warned, "Go home and act normal. Be sweet to your wife. And remember, no one can know." Before leaving, Cece Clayton gave him one last kiss, soft but full of longing. Later that night, Vincent Bennett found his wife Rachel staring out the window, visibly upset. "What's wrong?" he asked. "My sister," she whispered. "She called. She's spiraling again." Megan's life had been a string of breakdowns, rehab attempts, and relapses. Rachel wanted to help, but Vincent reminded her they couldn't fix Megan, not until she wanted to help herself. "I'm scared I'll end up like her," Rachel admitted, crying. "You won't," Vince assured her. "You're nothing like her." Rachel excused herself, saying she wasn't hungry. Vince sat alone, torn between sympathy and frustration. Megan was a ghost that still haunted their marriage. He had wanted to spend time with Rachel before leaving town, but now she'd be unreachable for days. Ironically, it made cheating with Cece feel even less complicated. As he reached for his phone to order dinner, he muttered, "Of all nights for Megan to call." Tom Clayton stood in the bathroom doorway, arms crossed. "Do you really have to go to that conference?" he asked. "A whole week without you." Cece Clayton rinsed her mouth and turned toward him. "We've talked about this. It's an important opportunity. I'll meet new educators and bring back fresh ideas for my class." Tom Clayton sighed. "I just don't like the idea of you being away that long," she offered a teasing smile. "You travel all the time for work." "That's different," he muttered, but she knew what was really behind his concern: jealousy. He never said it aloud, but she could see it in the way he watched her pack. To reassure him, Cece leaned in close. "You'll miss me that much, huh?" she asked playfully. He nodded. She gave him a warm kiss and whispered, "Then, I guess I better give you something to remember me by." Cece woke before dawn, too excited to sleep. She made breakfast, ate early, and planned to pack while Tom was distracted eating. She'd bought something special for the trip. Nothing inappropriate, just something she didn't want him to find. As the smell of bacon drifted upstairs, Tom came down and greeted her. "You're really eager this morning," Cece smiled. "Blame last night," she joked, trying to keep things light. She cleared the dishes and told him she was heading upstairs to finish packing. Later, when she returned to the bedroom, she caught Tom going through her suitcase. "Seriously?" she said, hands on her hips. "I was just checking to see if you forgot anything," he said weakly. "Tom, I've been packing my own bags for years. Trust me, I'm good." Embarrassed, he left the room. Cece shook her head, both annoyed and amused. She hid her special item in the bottom of her makeup bag, just in case. That afternoon, Tom helped carry her bags to the car. "You sure you have to go?" he asked one last time. "We've been over this," she said firmly, planting a kiss on his cheek. "No more guilt trips." He gave her a forced smile. "Just stay out of trouble, okay?" She laughed. "It's a teacher conference, not a rock concert." Then she waved and drove off. Once she was on the highway, she checked her rear view. No sign of Tom following. Still, she didn't want to risk a call, so she sent a quick message to Vince with one hand on the wheel. "On the road. Can't wait to see you. Miss you already." She hit send and powered down her phone. Tom didn't need to be calling every 10 minutes. Back home, Tom's phone buzzed. He smiled, assuming Cece had texted a sweet goodbye. But when he read the message, his heart dropped. "I can't wait to see you." "Miss you already?" The words made no sense. She just left. Was it a joke? Or worse, a message meant for someone else? His mind raced. Could it have been for Vince? Their names were right next to each other in her contacts. The idea made his stomach churn. He called her immediately, but her phone was off. He left a voicemail but didn't mention the text. Maybe it was just a weird glitch. Maybe. As the day dragged on with no response, his anxiety grew. That evening, he opened his laptop and searched for private investigators near the conference center. "If she doesn't call by morning," he said aloud, "I'll find out the truth myself." Vincent Bennett was restless, pacing the hotel lobby as he waited for Cece Clayton. He didn't know her exact arrival time, but the silence on her end made every minute feel longer. He knew waiting like this was risky. If anyone saw them together, the rumors alone could wreck his career. Still, he couldn't help it. He was already in too deep. His heart jumped when he finally saw her walk through the entrance. After a quick hello and light conversation, he helped her to her room. They kept their distance in the elevator, mindful of the company, but once inside her room, all restraint vanished. Vincent Bennett dropped her bags and pulled her into a kiss, as though he hadn't seen her in years. Cece clung to him just as eager. But before things went further, she gently pushed him away. "Hang on, let me check my phone. I haven't turned it on since I left. Tom might have called." Vince sighed, reluctantly giving her space. As her phone powered on, Cece saw the screen fill with missed calls. "He's been trying to reach me since I left," she muttered, frustrated. "He's so insecure." Vince sat beside her as she stared at the screen. Her tone shifted. "I feel bad. He really does love me, even if he's clingy." She looked at Vince. "I'm not sure we should be doing this. What about Rachel? What if someone finds out?" He nodded, deflated. "I've asked myself the same thing. I don't want to hurt anyone, but I can't stop thinking about you." "I feel the same," she admitted. "But that doesn't make this right." There was a pause. Then quietly Vince said, "If you really want to stop, I'll respect that." Cece gave him a soft smile and touched his face. "You're a good man, Vince." But the moment lingered. One glance turned into another kiss. Emotions surged, boundaries faded, and soon they were locked in each other's arms again, lost in the moment they had tried so hard to resist. Any thoughts of guilt or restraint were left behind. Monday morning, Tom stayed home late to make a private call. He contacted a local detective agency and explained his fears. The woman on the other end was calm and professional. "She's at the convention? We already have a few clients monitoring that event," she said. "Give us a day or two." That didn't make Tom feel better. Knowing others had the same suspicions about their spouses was cold comfort. Cece hadn't returned any of his calls since she left, which only added fuel to his worries. In the past, she'd always checked in. Now, nothing. The silence hurt, but part of him didn't want to hear from her. Not until he had the truth. On Wednesday afternoon, his phone finally rang. It was the detective agency. "Mr. Clayton," the voice said, "I'm sorry, but we confirmed your suspicions. We obtained photos, evidence. I've just sent the file to your email." Tom was speechless. "Would you like us to continue monitoring her?" "No," he said flatly. "That's enough." She hesitated. "Please don't act rashly, Mr. Clayton. Many couples have come back from situations like this. Just take time to think." He ended the call, and the weight of it all broke through. He wept quietly, hiding in a corner of the office, ashamed and shattered. Eventually, he pulled himself together and left early, pretending to be sick. Once home, he went straight to the computer and opened the email. It only took a few images to confirm everything he feared. Tom rushed to the bathroom and vomited. Afterward, he lay on the cold tile floor, drained. Later, he collapsed onto the living room couch, hand over his eyes, trying to shut out the truth. But the images were burned into his mind. What he had seen was undeniable. His marriage was over. Tom sat motionless on the couch, trying to collect his thoughts. Maybe it was for the best Cece wasn't home. He didn't trust what he'd do if he saw her, or Vince. But Rachel, Vince's wife, came to mind next. She'd adored her husband. This would destroy her. He felt justified. She deserves to know, he told himself. If the roles were reversed, I'd want the truth. Still, a part of him took satisfaction imagining Vince facing the fallout. He printed the evidence, photos from the private investigator, and called the Bennetts home. To his surprise, Rachel answered. Tom said he needed to speak with her in person. She hesitated, but agreed. When he arrived, Rachel welcomed him, puzzled. "You got me curious, Tom. What's going on?" Now, face to face, Tom questioned his decision. Their families had shared dinners, but they weren't close. Still, he couldn't back out. "I'm sorry, Rachel. There's no easy way to say this. My wife and your husband, they're having an affair." Rachel's eyes widened, but she said nothing. Tom pulled out the photos. I hired someone to follow them. They were at a conference. Suddenly, Rachel cried out, collapsed to the floor, and broke into sobs. Tom rushed to her side. "We'll get through this," he said gently. "You don't understand," she choked out. "My dad cheated on my mom. She couldn't take it. She ended her life. My sister spiraled after that. She disappeared, lived on the streets. Rehab, institutions. She was never the same. And now it's happening to me." Tom was stunned. "I'm so sorry, Rachel. But this isn't your fault." Rachel turned on him. "It is your fault. You didn't control your wife. If you had, none of this would have happened." He reeled back. "That's not fair." "Oh, please, defending her? Pathetic. The whole town will know what a joke you are." Her words cut deep. Tom stood frozen, shocked by her fury. Then she laughed, a sound so unhinged it frightened him. Grabbing the photos, he backed away and rushed to his car, still hearing her laughter in his head as he drove. Back home, he was rattled. That wasn't just anger. That was dangerous, he thought. Worse, what if she started telling people at his office? The humiliation would be unbearable. He tried to call Cece again, still no answer. Furious, he left a message. "Cece, get back now. I know everything. Rachel knows too. I have pictures. Call me back unless you're too busy cheating." With nothing else to do, he grabbed a bottle of whiskey and drank until he passed out. The next morning, hungover and anxious, he debated staying home, but forced himself into the office. No one acted differently, but Cece still hadn't called back. He didn't have Vince's number, and calling Rachel was out of the question. He felt trapped. That night, he returned to a messy house and a mind full of dread. He'd call a lawyer in the morning. At the conference, Cece had been clinging to Vince a little too closely. Good thing I don't know anyone here, she thought. More than a few attendees had noticed their chemistry. Some even called them a cute couple. On Thursday night, they attended a dinner hosted by a publishing company. After plenty of dancing and free drinks, they stumbled back to her room, flushed and tipsy. "Hang on," she said, breathless. "I've got something special for you." While Vince lounged on the bed, Cece slipped into the bathroom and changed into a risque black and red lingerie set. As she adjusted her heels, she noticed her purse had spilled. Her phone was off. Guilt surged through her as she turned it on and saw the missed calls. When she heard Tom's furious voicemail, she screamed. Vince knocked. "Everything okay?" She opened the door and handed him the phone. His face turned pale. "We're in serious trouble." Tears filled her eyes. "We have to leave first thing in the morning." He nodded. "Agreed. We've both had too much to drink tonight anyway." As he comforted her, his hands started to wander, but Cece pushed him away. "Seriously, Vince, our lives are falling apart and you're thinking about that?" "I just want to be close to you," he said. "Well, not tonight. I'm sleeping in the other bed. Don't even think about sneaking over." The air between them turned cold. By the time Vince and Cece hit the road Thursday afternoon, they were hungover and exhausted. They'd overslept, packed hastily, and grabbed brunch through room service because Cece was too distraught to face anyone. Guilt consumed her, not just for cheating, but for the embarrassment she knew Tom would face when the truth spread. "We have to keep this quiet, for all our sakes," she said through tears. Vince tried to comfort her. "Tom loves you. This will hurt, but he might forgive you. Even if he doesn't, he can file quietly. No need for scandal." Cece nodded. But talk of divorce made her break down again. After a while, she asked, "What about Rachel?" Vince hesitated. "It'll devastate her. Her parents' split really scarred her, but maybe that's why she won't want to go through it herself." Then he looked her in the eye. "I don't want to lose you, Cece. I mean it." Cece looked away. "I can't answer that now. We just need to get home." In the parking lot, Vince insisted on following her back. "I need to make sure you're safe." "Vince, don't. Tom will flip. I'm not letting him hurt you. If he hits me, fine. I deserve it." And with that, they drove off, Cece leading, Vince close behind. Tom had gone into work that morning, but when Cece texted that she was coming home, he left early. Hours later, when she finally pulled into the driveway with Vince behind her, his temper exploded. "What's he doing here?" Vince calmly grabbed Cece's bags and followed her up the steps. "I'm not hiding from you, Tom. I needed to make sure she's okay." Tom, overwhelmed, stepped aside, letting them in. They sat in silence before Cece spoke, tearful and trembling. "Tom, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I didn't think you'd find out." Tom snapped. Sorry for what exactly? This? He tossed the private investigator's photos on the table. Vince went pale. Cece broke down. Tom felt a flicker of justice until Vince asked, "Have you shown these to anyone?" Tom, defensive now, barked, "Not yet. I wanted to hear from her first." Vince took his shot. "Don't destroy everything over one mistake. I'm the one who crossed the line. Cece got caught in the moment, but she loves you. She wants to fix this. Don't punish her for my actions." Tom hesitated. Part of him wanted to believe it. If he forgave her, maybe they could keep it private, go to counseling, pretend it never happened. He turned to Cece. "Would you go to therapy with me? Stay loyal? Never see Vince again?" Cece hesitated. She looked at Vince, then the floor, and that was all Tom needed. "You're in love with him." Just then, the doorbell rang. Tom answered, and Rachel stormed inside, wild-eyed and furious. "I knew it, all three of you scheming together. Rachel, please." Cece tried to explain. "You lying tramp." Rachel screamed, then punched her, knocking her down. Chaos erupted. Vince grabbed Rachel, trying to stop her from lashing out. She kicked him hard in the shin. As he dropped, she stood over him, livid. "You ruined my life. You knew what my family went through, and you still did this. I'll make sure everyone knows. No one will hire either of you again. I'll show the whole town those photos." That snapped Tom out of his daze. "Rachel, calm down. Let's talk." "Talk?" she spat. "Your wife chased after mine like a dog in heat, and you couldn't satisfy her. Everyone's going to laugh at you, Tom. Google your name. They'll see loser next to your face." She paused, then added, "I need rest. Tomorrow I start tearing down your careers." She turned to Vince. "Come home, and I'll have you arrested." Then she left, slamming the door. The room was silent. Cece whispered, "She looked like she wanted to hurt me, really badly." Tom muttered, "She might still. Someone has to stop her." Vince, shaken, said, "I've never seen her like this. She might be having some kind of breakdown." "She was like that when I told her," Tom said coldly. "You told her?" Vince shouted. "Why would you do that?" "Why did you sleep with my wife, you bastard?" Tom roared. Another shouting match erupted until Tom finally snapped, "I want you both out. Vince, go anywhere. I don't care. Cece, you stay. I'll go. And if Vince shows up tonight, so help me." He stormed out. The three of them were left alone, broken, and unsure what came next. After her explosive scene at Tom Clayton's house, Rachel Bennett collapsed on her couch and fell asleep. It was late, maybe the middle of the night, when footsteps on the porch jolted her awake. Half dazed and still angry, she assumed it was Vincent Bennett trying to sneak back in. She yanked the door open, but instead of her husband, she was met with the barrel of a Magnum. The first hit landed right between her eyes. She collapsed instantly. 3 more impacts followed, but Rachel felt none of them. The rookie cop had nearly lost his lunch when he saw Rachel's body, but he'd regained his composure by the time detectives arrived. From across the street, a man and woman approached, bickering the whole way. "Who are they?" the rookie asked. "Detectives Halbrook and Kessler," his sergeant said. "We call them the odd couple. They argue constantly, but solve cases like clockwork." Harry and Tess reached the porch. "What have we got?" Harry asked. The sergeant flipped open his notebook. "Rachel Bennett, 36, hit once in the head, then 3 more times, in the chest and lower body. Looks like 2 a.m. was the time of death. No signs of robbery. Purse was dumped out, but nothing's missing." Tess murmured, "Sounds personal." "Nothing usable on prints yet," the sergeant added. "Forensics will double-check." "Anyone hear anything?" Harry asked. "Neighbor thought it was fireworks." "Where's the husband?" Tess asked. "Not here. Looks like he hasn't been around for days." "Run her phone," Harry said. "He's likely in there." They walked through the house, then headed to a diner. "Let me guess. You're going to say it was the husband," Tess said over cereal and coffee. "Dead wife, missing spouse, a fatal wound to the head. Of course it was him." "You haven't even met him yet," Tess scoffed. "Also, it's QED, not QID." "Whatever. Still stands," Harry smirked. Midway through their second cup, Harry got a call. "They found Vince Bennett. Motel off the highway. Let's go." A patrolman stood watch outside the motel room when the detectives arrived. Tess knocked. Vince opened the door, groggy but alert. "Mr. Bennett, we need to talk about your wife," Harry said, taking a seat. "I checked in last night around 9, Vince explained. "Watched TV, went to bed, alone. You can ask the front desk." "Why not go home?" Tess asked. Vince fidgeted. "Rachel and I argued. I figured some space might help." What was the fight about? She wanted me home early from a work conference. I couldn't leave. She got upset. Did either of you get physical? No, just words. Walk me through your night. I followed a colleague, Cece Clayton, home from the convention to make sure she got there okay. Stopped in to say hi to her and her husband. Rachel showed up there. We argued. Then I left, grabbed dinner, came here. Describe your marriage. Ups and downs. Normal, mostly. Do you own a Magnum? No, Vince said quickly. Harry stood. That's it for now. Don't leave town. Once outside, Harry muttered, He's hiding something. Yeah, Tess agreed. Not necessarily guilt, just fear. Harry grinned. I'll take that dinner bet now. As soon as the detectives left, Vince called Cece. Vince, I just heard about Rachel, she exclaimed. Listen, he cut in. Police were just here. I told them we argued at your place. That's it. They're probably headed to you and Tom next. You've got to get him to cooperate. Now. He hates me, she said. Why would he help? Because public humiliation is the last thing he wants. You know how to play this, Cece exhaled. I'll try. Good. We can't afford a scandal. A pause. Vince. Did you liquidate her? No, he snapped. God, no. Don't even think that. I didn't think so, but she hated you so much, I just had to ask. Forget it. Focus on Tom. We're in this together. When detectives Harry and Tess arrived at the Clayton home, Tom and Cece greeted them at the door. After brief introductions, Harry got straight to the point. You two were friends with the Bennetts, right? How was their marriage? Tom answered carefully. Like most, some arguments, but nothing alarming. We heard they had a fight here yesterday, Harry continued. Were you present? Tom hesitated. Yeah. What was it about? Cece jumped in. Nothing major. Rachel missed Vince. She got emotional. Harry glanced at his notes. Was Rachel already here when you returned from the convention? No, Tom replied. She showed up later. Did you call her? No. I guess she figured we'd be back, Cece said quickly. Did they leave together after the argument? Harry asked. No, separate cars, Tom replied. So you two were here together the rest of the night? Another pause. Then Cece admitted, No. We argued too. Tom spent the night at a motel. Harry raised a brow. So neither of you can account for the other during the time of Rachel's murder? They looked at each other before Tom muttered, No, but we had nothing to do with it. Harry stood. All right, we'll be in touch. Once in the car, Tess scowled. That was it? They were practically sweating through their clothes. Harry smirked. Exactly. They've rehearsed this. Let's let them think they fooled us, then split them up and watch the stories fall apart. Tom paced the living room. That story won't hold. They're going to catch us. They believed us, Cece insisted. We just need to stay consistent. Tom scoffed. You're bending over backwards to protect Vince, the guy who probably pulled the trigger on Rachel. No way, Cece snapped, though doubt flickered in her eyes. If he didn't, maybe you did, Tom accused. Cece froze, then fired back. Or maybe you did. You care more about your precious image than anyone. Tom sank into a chair. This is a disaster. But after what we just told the cops, we have to keep living together. At least until it blows over. You'll be in the guest room. My door stays locked. Harry grinned as he hung up the phone. Tom's on his way. Didn't sound thrilled. Tess nodded. This time let me question him alone. Might loosen him up. Harry rolled his eyes. Fine. Go with your gut. In the interrogation room, Tess greeted Tom gently. I know this can't be easy. He nodded, clearly strained. What's your impression of Vince Bennett? Tom squirmed. I don't know him well. But you trusted him enough to travel with your wife. No response. She shifted topics. You said you and Cece fought after the Bennetts left. What was it really about, Vince? Tom's eyes welled up. Tess watched quietly as he broke down, then handed him tissues and offered calm reassurance. Eventually, Tom poured out everything. The affair, the private detective, the fight, the fallout. I can't let anyone find out, he begged. My career, my life, would be over. Tess noted how his fear centered on reputation more than heartbreak. You're worried about being judged. You don't understand. Where I work, weakness is blood in the water. Later, when Tom left, Harry walked in looking impressed. How the hell did you get that out of him? Just a little patience, Tess said, smug. Great job. But you realize you just gave us another possible suspect. She frowned. You're not serious? Think about it. He's obsessed with image. Rachel threatened that. That's motive. Damn it. Tess muttered. Back home, Cece stared Tom down. You told them, didn't you? He avoided her eyes. They already knew, and she said they'd try to keep it quiet. Cece exploded. Try doesn't mean anything. She stormed off, slammed the bedroom door, and called Vince. They got to Tom, she blurted. He told them everything. If the school finds out, we're screwed. Before Vince could respond, a second call lit up her phone. Damn it, it's the police. I have to take this. She hung up. Tess watched from behind the glass as Harry stepped into the room with Cece Clayton. His expression was all business. Mrs. Clayton, your husband's story doesn't match what you told us earlier, Harry said flatly. Cece looked strained. Detective, my marriage is on shaky ground. I wasn't exactly eager to spill every painful detail. Harry didn't bite. Let's focus on Rachel Bennett. Sounds like things got intense in your living room. Cece swallowed hard. It was terrifying. She snapped, shouting, accusing, completely unhinged. What did she say? She called me every name in the book, Cece admitted, lowering her eyes. And I probably earned some of it. Is that bruise on your cheek from her? Cece's face tightened. She hit me out of nowhere, knocked me down. I was so furious, I wanted to... She stopped herself abruptly. Harry leaned in. She threatened you, didn't she? Cece hesitated. She said she'd destroy our careers, said we'd never work in education again. And did you believe her? I've never seen someone so determined to burn it all down, Cece said softly. Do you own a firearm? Harry asked calmly. Yes, for protection. My father gave it to me years ago. Harry's voice dropped. Did you liquidate Rachel? Cece's composure cracked. No, I swear, I couldn't do that. Where's the Magnum now? It should be in my nightstand, Harry nodded. We'll follow you home and check it. As they got into the car, Tess glanced at her partner with a wry smile. Nice work. Too bad you just gave us suspect number 3. Harry sighed. Yeah, figures. Tom was caught off guard when the door opened. Cece walked in, trailed by Harry and Tess. She didn't say a word as they all headed to the bedroom. There, she said, pointing to the nightstand. It should be inside. Don't touch it, Harry warned, pulling on gloves. He opened the drawer. Empty. Cece rushed forward. What? That's impossible! She spun to face Tom. Did you take my Magnum? He looked stunned. No, I never touch your stuff. Cece turned back to the detectives, panicked. Someone took it. I swear it was there. They asked for details. Make, last time she saw it when it was last used. Tom quietly backed out of the room, whispering to himself, They think Cece was the one who did it. That evening, Tess answered her door to find Harry holding a stack of files. You're late, she said, waving him in. Paperwork, he replied. Grabbed a sandwich at my desk. She handed him a beer and they sat on the couch. So, she asked, what do you make of this mess? Harry took a drink. Still leaning toward the husband, but it's not as clear as I thought. Rachel must have been hell to deal with. She was out of control, Tess agreed. No one blames her for being angry, but she went way too far. All right, Harry said, ticking off suspects with his fingers. 1, Vince. Obvious motive. Divorce would ruin him and Rachel had the power to get him fired. 2, Tess added. Cece. Same motive. Plus she may be in love with Vince. She also had a Magnum that's suddenly missing, Harry said. How convenient. And Rachel was shot more than once, including in the pelvis, Tess pointed out. That's not just self-defense, that's rage. Exactly, Harry nodded. After what Rachel did to both of them, they had reasons to hate her. Tess stared into her drink. Too many motives, not enough answers. Harry raised his third finger. And then there's Tom Clayton. Honestly, he might have had the most to lose. That man is obsessed with how people see him. And Rachel? She was threatening to publicly humiliate him. Tess nodded. Yeah, in the interview, it sounded like he'd do anything to protect his image. Harry leaned back, finishing his beer. You know what the most dangerous animal is? The one cornered with nowhere to go? That's when it lashes out. Tess looked thoughtful. Problem is, Rachel backed all 3 of them into a corner. Tom, Cece, and Vince. We just don't know which one snapped first. A long pause passed between them. Then Tess kicked off her shoes and stretched out on the couch. Hey, my feet are killing me. Be a decent human and rub them, will you? Harry rolled his eyes but moved over and began to massage them. Tess let out a satisfied sigh. That's the only reason I keep you around. After a few moments, the atmosphere between them shifted, light banter giving way to something more intimate. They ended up on the couch together, tangled in shared tension and comfort, a moment that had clearly been building between them for a while. Afterward, Tess playfully shoved him. "All right, move it. You're crushing me." Harry groaned, pulling himself up. "Can't I just crash here tonight?" "You know the rules," she said, slipping into a robe. "We both show up at work in the morning and someone sees our cars out front. We'll be reassigned faster than you can say department scandal." He muttered under his breath as he dressed. Yeah, it's still a pain in the A," she smirked. "Then don't come back." "You wish," he said, tugging on his jacket. When they walked into the precinct the next day, the desk sergeant flagged them down. "You're gonna want to hear this. Last night, a trash truck was picking up a dumpster near a construction site 2 blocks from the Bennett place. Load shifted, something inside went off. Turned out to be a pistol. Freaked the driver out." Harry raised his brows. "A Magnum just fired inside a dumpster?" "Yep. Once they got it back to the lot, one of the guys found a Glock inside. Ballistics is already testing it." Just then, a lab tech rushed over, waving a printout. "We got a match. Looks like this Magnum's the one that liquidated Rachel Bennett." "Prints?" Harry asked. "No usable ones," the tech said. "Too much grime, and the guy who found it handled it too." At their desks, Tess leaned back. "So, feeling confident about your theory now? This seems to point right at Cece, her Magnum after all." Harry shook his head. "Not so fast. Her husband could have taken it. That would give him the tool and an alibi. Hell, even Vince knew about it. They all did." Tess frowned. "Right, anyone who'd been to their house could have grabbed it. Just having the Magnum doesn't prove who used it," Harry groaned. 3 suspects, all with motive. We've got the murder tool, but no way to tie it definitively to any of them." Tess gave him a teasing grin. "You're sounding frustrated, Harry." "This case is like bobbing for apples," he grumbled. "Every time you reach for the truth, it slips away." She burst out laughing. "Seriously, bobbing for apples?" "Hey," he shrugged. "You remember Halloween as a kid? It was a thing." She shook her head, still chuckling. "You're getting old, partner," he scowled. Yeah, laugh it up, numbskull." Harry and Tess were slogging through yet another mountain of paperwork when their captain stormed over. "How's the Bennett case?" he barked. "I'm catching heat from above. We need an arrest. Fast." Tess stood to meet his glare. She had a knack for handling brass better than Harry did. "We're closing in," she said calmly. 3 strong suspects, just working to narrow it down." The captain wasn't satisfied. "A state employee gets taken out at home, and all you've got is a list? The public wants answers, and I want progress. Now." He turned on his heel and left. Harry muttered, "What does he want? Us to beat confessions out of them?" Tess shook her head. We must be missing something." Harry pushed away from the desk. "One thing's for sure, paperwork won't solve it. Let's check out where Rachel worked. Western Correctional. Maybe something there gives us a lead." Tess frowned. "You think that'll help?" "No idea. But it's the one angle we haven't touched." They drove to the prison in silence. Tess remained skeptical. "Rachel was head nurse, so what? This won't crack the case." Harry shrugged. "Can't hurt to ask." At the prison yard, a few inmates heckled Tess as they passed. One recognized Harry. "You're the cop who put me in here." Harry grinned. "Nice to see you behind bars." Inside, the warden greeted them warmly. "Rachel's death shook us. She was tough but fair. Most inmates respected her, even the troublemakers." "Anyone she was close to?" Harry asked. The warden pointed them to Ray Dalton, a young guard who'd worked with Rachel often. Tess tried to pull Harry away, insisting it was a dead end, but he pressed on. Ray looked barely older than the inmates, and he clearly took Rachel's death hard. "She looked out for those guys more than they deserved," he said. "Most respected her, but not all." "Someone give her trouble?" Harry asked. "There was one, Hector Ramirez. Never said much, but the way he looked at her, pure hate. It always made me nervous. She brushed it off." "Still here?" Harry asked. "Nope. Released 2 days ago." That changed everything. Back in the car, Tess called the parole office. Within minutes, she had an update. "Hector didn't report in. He's in violation." Harry started the engine. "Let's visit Mom." At a worn-down house in the city, a tired woman opened the door. "We're looking for Hector," Tess said. The woman's eyes welled up. "He's in the basement. Says he's dying. Won't come out." "Mind if we speak to him?" She stepped aside. "Please, just don't hurt him. He's my baby." Harry and Tess descended carefully, hands near their holsters. The basement reeked of mold and decay. In the shadows, a shape curled up on a cot. Hector, Harry said gently, we're not here to hurt you. We just want to talk. When Hector saw the detectives in the basement, he tried to get up, then collapsed back onto the cot with a groan. Tess checked for tools. Nothing. Harry motioned to skip the cuffs. What's going on, Hector? Harry asked gently. Tears streamed down Hector's face. She poisoned me. Said she'd only give me the antidote if I did what she wanted. I didn't have a choice. Then she lied. There was no antidote. I'm going to die. Harry frowned. What did she make you do? Hector looked up. She made me liquidate her. Tess kept her voice steady. Is that why you shot her? Because you hated her? I didn't want to, Hector sobbed. She made me do awful things back at the prison. I hated her, sure, but I just wanted to leave it all behind. She wouldn't let me. Back at the station, Hector refused legal counsel. Doesn't matter, I'm dead anyway, Tess briefed the captain. You won't believe this one. Hector says Rachel ran the prison through fear and control, rewarding some inmates with pills, threatening others with poison during medical visits. She used flu injections to intimidate prisoners, Tess explained. In Hector's case, it was insulin. She told him she'd given him a slow-acting poison the day he was released. Said he'd die in a week unless he followed her orders. And her order was to murder her? The captain asked, incredulous. Tess nodded. Apparently, yes. She was unraveling. Her husband was leaving her, and she feared she'd lose her mind, like her mother and sister had. Instead of ending her own life, she set up a murder that would ruin the lives of everyone who betrayed her. After he pulled the trigger on her, Hector searched her purse for the antidote. There was nothing. In a panic, he kept firing. The captain leaned back, skeptical. Even if that's true, a jury won't buy it. All we have is one inmate's word. Where's Hector now? Tess sighed. Getting checked out. The doctor says there's no poison. Nothing at all. Looks like she manipulated him to the end. Well, the captain said, stone-faced, unless you find hard evidence, the DA's charging him with murder. Tess stormed back to her desk. We're not letting that kid take the fall for her twisted revenge, she snapped. Harry looked up, startled. Where are we going? Back to the prison. To find what? I'll know when I see it. The yard was quiet this time. The warden was surprised by their return. We'd like to check out Rachel Bennett's workspace, Tess said. He led them to the infirmary, a modest room with a table, some chairs, a desk, and a locked fridge. A medicine cabinet hung over the sink. A file cabinet and a locked closet stood in one corner. Want me to get keys? Harry asked. No, Tess said. She wouldn't leave anything obvious. She opened the desk, rifled through papers, then crouched down and began feeling along the inside, tapping for hidden compartments. Still coming up empty, Tess stood, turned to the wall cabinet above the sink, and opened it. It held a mix of basic meds, some gauze, and oddly, brightly colored makeup. Tess frowned, eyeing it. Pretty flashy, she muttered. Doesn't seem like her vibe. After closing it, she slowly paced the room, running her fingers along the walls, listening for any hollow sounds. With nothing turning up, she turned to Harry, who'd been watching her, slightly amused. Suddenly, a spark hit her. Harry, if you're searching for hidden pills in someone's home, where do you start? He looked confused but answered, the bedroom, usually. People like to keep that stuff close. Exactly. Tess stepped back to the medicine cabinet. Grabbing both sides, she yanked hard. Hey, don't destroy the place, Harry said, alarmed. She gave another pull and the cabinet slid free of the wall. Behind it, a shallow hidden space. Oh my God, she whispered. Harry, check this out. Inside were rows of narcotics, pills, vials, weed, injectables. Harry's eyes quickly scanned labels, painkillers, coke, stimulants, sedatives, everything. But Tess was focused on something else. A slim metal box mounted to the back. What's that? Harry asked. Tess carefully unlatched it. Inside was a tablet. I bet this is Rachel Bennett's personal log, she said, excited. They sat at the desk and powered it up. It loaded to a long list of video folders, all marked by date. Tess opened one of the earliest. Rachel's face filled the screen. Calm, professional, talking about her work. They skipped ahead. Now Rachel looked harsher, her tone bitter. Those boys need to learn respect, she snapped. And I think I know just how to make them behave. Another clip played. Rachel giggled while recording a note to herself. Joey was thrilled when I gave him the X today. Too bad I won't see what he does with it tonight. Tess clicked to open another, but Harry stopped her. Try a recent one. She found one from earlier this year. The camera was set on a desk, aimed at the exam table. A young man was lying face down, bent over. His face was made up with heavy red lipstick, thick eyeliner, blush, made to look like a girl. Then Rachel appeared, wearing a leather harness, her chest exposed. What grabbed Tess's attention most was the large strap-on at her waist. She walked over and touched the man's bare backside. He flinched. "You want this?" she purred. "No, please don't," he begged. "Please, Nurse Bennett. I'll behave. I'll do anything else." Harry's face went pale. "That's Hector's voice." Rachel's tone turned cold. "If you don't do what I say, Hector, your next insulin dose will be your last." The young man went limp with fear. Rachel slicked the strap on and stepped closer. The boy whimpered. "I'm done," Harry muttered and stopped the playback. Tess looked sick but kept searching through the folders. "I want to find the one from last week." Harry nodded silently. "Here, last Wednesday." She opened it. A new scene appeared. Rachel's living room. "That looks like her house," Harry whispered. Rachel suddenly appeared on screen, wide-eyed, twitchy, yelling into the lens. Tess quickly turned the volume down. "I knew this would happen, just like it did to Mom, just like Megan," she ranted. "That bastard's leaving me." "I won't end up like Megan. I'll die first." Her voice cracked, her face manic. "But I won't let Cece and my dear husband get away with it. They'll pay. And Cece's pathetic husband, too. He should have stopped it before it started." She panted, unhinged. "I can feel myself slipping. I'm not going to live like this, but I can still make them hurt before I go. Hector hates me. He'll do it. If I set it up right, it'll look like they're the guilty ones. Hector will suffer too. He should." The clip ended abruptly. Tess opened the next. Rachel appeared again, but this time calmer. "It's ready," she said. "Hector looked like he wanted to liquidate me this morning. But I told him, no antidote unless he plays along. And he folded, like always." She smiled faintly. "I took Cece's Magnum. Her idiot husband didn't even lock the side door yesterday. Now it's all in motion. They'll probably go to Cece's house first. I'll be waiting." Then her tone shifted. "Mama, I'll see you soon. I don't know when. I don't want to, but soon we'll be together. I miss you. I've missed you for so long." They had to wait until forensics cleared the infirmary before they could leave. On the ride back, they barely spoke. Eventually, Harry broke the silence. "You know what's tragic? Rachel was terrified of losing her mind like her sister. But the truth is, she already had. She just didn't realize it." Roughly 2 weeks had passed since the case was closed when Tess, finishing her mascara in the mirror, heard the doorbell chime. She grabbed her cardigan on the way to answer it and opened the door to see Harry standing there in a crisp suit, bouquet in hand, and a sheepish grin on his face. "Wow, look at you," Tess said with a surprised laugh. "That's quite the welcome party." Harry gave a mock bow. "Hey, Harry Halbrook always pays what he owes, and I promised you dinner, didn't I? Tonight I deliver. With style." Tess chuckled, stepping aside to let him in. "Truthfully, I felt a bit guilty about it. If you hadn't dragged me out to the prison that day, we might never have cracked the case." "Maybe," Harry replied, shrugging. "But if you hadn't uncovered that hidden nook behind the mirror, no one would have taken our theory seriously. The husband's off the hook, and that means dinner's on me. Now come on, we've got reservations, and I'm not letting them go to waste." He'd managed to snag a table at one of the nicer spots in town. Nothing too extravagant, but classy enough to impress. Their meal was delicious. The wine flowed smoothly, and for a while they exchanged updates on colleagues and precinct drama. But then Tess grew quiet, her fingers absently circling the rim of her wine glass. "Oh, Cece Clayton called me, by the way. Wanted to make sure it was okay for her to leave town." Harry looked up from his plate, intrigued. "Where's she headed?" "Back to her folks' place," Tess said. "She left her teaching job and filed for divorce. She and Tom are finished." "Is Vince going with her?" She shook her head. "No. She said after everything they put people through, she just couldn't keep pretending. Too much guilt. Vince quit too, said he's heading west to start over. The gossip around the school never got too specific, but it was enough to spook him. Better to leave on his own terms than wait to get pushed." Harry frowned. "And Tom?" "Vanished," Tess said. "Left town 3 days ago. Cece hasn't heard from him since. I think the whole mess was more than he could handle." Harry sighed and leaned back. "You know, even though we exposed everything, it still feels like Rachel won in the end. Her plan failed, sure, but those three, their lives are still wrecked." Then a smile tugged at his mouth. "But get this. Did you hear what's happening with Hector?" Tess shook her head. No, fill me in. Harry let out a chuckle. The DA's office is stumped. Rachel's video logs blew their case apart. They can't charge him with murder anymore, and even manslaughter's looking iffy. There's a chance the only thing he'll be charged with is firing a magnum inside city limits. Good, Tess said softly. He's no saint, but he was used, manipulated. He didn't deserve what she did to him. Harry nodded. Then, noticing her empty plate, he perked up. Dessert? I heard the tiramisu here is legendary. She gave him a mock glare. What did I tell you about your sugar intake, Harry? He groaned. You're relentless. Why are you always on my case? Because if something happens to you, she said with a half smile, who else is going to put up with me? He laughed, but after a pause, his tone shifted. You know, this case really stuck with me. Those four, Rachel, Vince, Cece, Tom, they were just drifting through life, letting everything carry them along like debris in a river. Then one day they washed up somewhere awful and couldn't even figure out how they got there. Tess gave him a sideways glance. That's surprisingly deep for you. You all right? You don't think I'm right? No, I get it, she said, though her voice betrayed uncertainty. I guess what I'm saying is, maybe you and I are doing the same thing, floating, waiting for life to make the next move. Tess narrowed her eyes, concerned. Wait a second. Are you sick or something? Don't go giving me some dramatic health speech. Harry rolled his eyes. No, nothing like that. I just don't want to keep coasting. I want something solid. Then, to Tess's surprise, Harry pushed back his chair, got up, and knelt awkwardly beside her. Harry, what on earth? She began. You hard-headed woman, he said, fumbling in his jacket. I'm trying to propose to you. He pulled out a small box and flipped it open. Inside was a simple diamond ring. It's not fancy, but I'm hoping it's enough. Tess froze, staring at him. Then she let out a breathy laugh, got out of her chair, and knelt beside him, awkward in her dress but determined. If you're going to be down here, then I will too, she said. And yes, Harry Holbrook, I'll marry you. She cupped his face and kissed him hard as the restaurant erupted in clapping and cheers all around them.